I took my first funeral this week, at least my first one since the lockdown, and it was a pretty strange affair. You can imagine the whole chapel empty of chairs apart from the 10 that they'd put out for the maximum 10 mourners that could attend a funeral. And it was a strange affair, but it was good. It was good to still be able to remember the life of someone who had died. And the family had requested that we look at a particular passage in the service from John chapter 14, where Jesus talks to his disciples about his father's house having many rooms. He was going to go away there but come back and fetch the disciples, and he's preparing a room for them. And the passage starts with these words from Jesus, where he says to his disciples, "Do not let your hearts be troubled. Trust in God, trust also in me." And probably the disciples thought, well, yeah, of course we trust you, Jesus. Because Jesus had been their friend and their mentor and their teacher for a number of years now. Jesus had done some extraordinary things. Jesus had never let them down. Jesus was special. Jesus was good. Jesus was kind. Jesus was loving. Of course they trusted Jesus. But then Jesus goes on to share some rather strange things with them when he talks about having to go away, having to leave them. And he seems to suggest that things are not going to go quite according to plan, at least not to the disciples' plan. And there would be some times when they would not understand what on earth was going on. There would be possibly some struggle. You see, trust isn't really trust until it's put in a place where it's going to be tested. Trust is a fairly empty gesture if there's no reason why you wouldn't trust someone. And perhaps for disciples, their trust in Jesus was truly tested when they were put in a time of difficulty, of trial, of danger, of uncertainty, and a time when they just didn't have a clue what was going on and everything had not gone according to their plan. So we're in a situation where maybe in the past you've quite happily said, yeah, God, I trust you. Jesus, I trust you. But now you find yourself in a place where you have more questions than you have answers. You find yourself in a place of uncertainty, where the future looks uncertain, the present looks bleak. Well, maybe you find yourself in a time of anxiety and anguish, mental anguish, physical anguish, spiritual anguish. And that's when the question, do you trust God and do you trust me, that's coming from Jesus, is probably a really important question to ask. Because trust isn't trust unless you're willing to say yes when everything seems wrong. In the Bible there's a book called Proverbs, and basically it's a book of pearls of wisdom given from a father to his son. And probably one of the most famous of these pearls of wisdom is found towards the beginning of Proverbs in chapter 3 verses 5 to 6. And this is what it says: "Trust in the Lord with all of your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to him, and he will make your paths straight." See, do you trust him? Do you trust God? Are you willing to acknowledge him even when your heart is breaking? Even when you don't understand, even when you have so many unanswered questions, are you willing to say, look, Lord God, you've never failed me in the past. People have, even church has, but you have not. Therefore I say now, and I state that I trust you. I trust you, God, and I trust you, Lord Jesus. I submit all of my ways to you. I make you the Lord of my heart. And Lord God, I just pray that you will make my path straight. That Lord God, you do have a plan for me. A plan not to harm me, but to prosper me. So Lord God, I trust in you.